Chapter 6 begins with Jin protecting a young Laura from her abusive and criminal stepfather who was harassing her. Jin cuts off the dude's arm and tells Laura that he will protect her from now on. Jin wakes up with Malos hovering around. Malos tells Jin to stop putting his life at risk, swearing he would make his dream come true. Malos gets all philosophical and wonders if his actions are really his own, or is it the will of somebody else. Malos continues and asks Jin if he's really here, and that he himself doesn't really know where he's at. That's pretty much the story of my life. Almathis calls a meeting between himself, Queen Rakura, and Emperor Nile to discuss the supposed attack of the Ardanians against the Urians. Also present are Morag, Zeke, and Nira. What a cool hat he has. Meanwhile, Patroka, Meg, and Akos are waiting nearby. It's revealed through their conversation that Jin wants to kill the architect. None of them can make a move, however, until the path of the World Tree is open. Nile offers to settle since the weapon did belong to the Ardanian forces, but Rakura wants more. Almathis chimes in that they already know who's at fault, saying that Torna is behind the attacks. Rakura is in disbelief, but Zeke, serving as witness, swears the truth. Nira confirms that ex-chairman Bana supplied Torna with what they needed. Almathis also informs the queen that Malos has reappeared, to which again she is in disbelief. Man, this queen is really falling behind. Mithra reveals that Malos wishes to reach Elysium to recover and destroy all of humanity. Following the meeting is Fan's funeral, as the depressed Rex looks on. Even though it's a sad moment, I did enjoy Mithra and Nia's dialogue, where Nia is suggesting that Mithra wants to be clingy after saying that leaving Rex alone was more of Pyra's idea.
Actually, letting him be was more her idea than mine.
Really? Pyra's? Get out. So wait, you're saying you want to go be clingy or what?
I'll burn you.
They do bring up a good point that I was wondering about. Shouldn't Fan return to her core crystal if she's dead? Mithra points out that it looks like her core was stolen, and the camera pans to Almathis. That son of a Almathis meets with Rex and the crew to give a little history/geography lesson. It seems the way the world works is that people live on Titans, which circle around the World Tree. The World Tree also lies in the Great Void, which came into existence 500 years ago. Almathis goes on to say that Ophion is the monstrous beast that carved the Great Void, which the gang met a while back. Ophion is revealed to be an artifice who was a servant of Mithra. However, in the Aegis War 500 years ago, Malos destroyed it and it sank into the Cloud Sea. Apparently, Zeke's home country resurrected Ophion and gave it the directive to ensure no one approached the World Tree in order to prevent another Aegis War. Hence, the Great Void was created. In order to rescind Ophion's directive, the group needs to get the Omega Fetter. We enter a flashback where Mithra is speaking with Almathis, asking him why he woke up Haze. He gives the reason that her power was of great use to help repel the attacks of Torna. However, Mithra feels something is amiss since Almathis has no other blades. We also learn that Jin most likely named his group after Torna, the country where he was from, due to loyalty or nostalgia. Meanwhile, Uriah and Moradane are having a separate summit since Uriah doesn't like to associate too closely with Indol. We learn that Uriah wants shared sovereignty over Gormont as compensation. Mora says the Senate would most likely not agree to that, but the Emperor says he would overrule them by decree, but would need Senator Roderick's support. No matter what happens, Morag says she has his back. Nira with his cool hat enters the room with some dire news. Apparently, Bana is still up to his old tricks and planning an assassination attempt at the summit. That sick son of a and here I thought he was cute and cuddly. Morag comes to the party to see if they would help out, and as usual they decide to give a helping hand. The party believes the food may have been poisoned and took out all the chefs. However, Pupunin shows up basically saying they killed the wrong people. Suddenly a loud explosion is heard in the distance. It looks like Rosa makes a comeback even stronger than before with Bana inside, threatening the queen and the emperor. Sadly for Bana, he loses once again, but doesn't want to surrender, so instead he self-destructs Giga Rosa, taking himself out. Emperor Nile commands Aegion to generate a protective barrier which protects everyone except for the emperor. I don't know why he felt the need to run towards Bana. He would have been safe in the shield. Everyone is shocked, including myself. Nia tells Dromark to cause a diversion to save the emperor. I guess she doesn't want people to see how she does it. Dromark goes on to cause a distraction. While everyone is away, Neo starts to heal the emperor. When the group returns, Nile is back on his feet, and Mora gives a heartfelt thank you, saying she would never be able to repay Nia. Later on, the emperor wishes for Morag to travel with the Aegis as an emissary of the empire, knowing that her true feelings is to be with Rex and the rest of the group. Meanwhile, Okura returns home wondering what the just happened. The party catches a breather for a little while before arriving at Tantal. Zeke asks who Rex fancies more between Pyra and Mithra, but Rex gives a non-answer basically. In this moment, we find out that Zeke has actually been disowned by his father for pretty much sneaking outside the house too many times. Genbu begins to surface due to Pandoria, and the group finally arrives. On the way to the throne room, Morag notices something and asks Tora if Poppy is able to produce her own reserves of ether energy. Tora asks why, but Morag says she'll explain later. Morag, you sly dog. They finally enter the throne room. Rex hands over a message to the king, but he rips it up. Guards quickly surround around the party. A machine captures Pyra as the king is intent on destroying the Aegis. The gang find themselves in jail surrounded by what Morak describes as a stasis web. Elsewhere, Zeke is ranting about his father. He comes up with a plan in order to help Rex. While inside the cell, Poppy is able to use her furnace in order to generate her own supply of ether energy. Morak had her suspicions ever since she entered the palace and never used her arts. With the combined energy of Torna's earth element and fire element, the power of the arts combined would be amplified, resulting in the destruction of the door. Morak, you sly dog. The group is able to escape and make their way towards Pyra. On the way, the party meets up with Zeke, who is upset that they escaped without his help. Don't worry, Zeke, I'm useless to everyone I know as well. Pyra wakes up to an ether accelerator pointed right at her face. They mean to destroy Pyra using Genbu's ether energy. The device is activated and an all-out brawl begins. But just as it's about to shoot, Poppy switches to her QT mode to divert the shot away from Pyra instead. The king, knowing he was defeated, reveals that his bloodline isn't actually descended from Adam, but instead his family was just a cadet branch. Adam's name was only used to reunite the people of Tantal. The king explains Adam never returned, and that most likely he perished on his journey home after sealing the Aegis. However, Pyra explains Adam had foreseen everything and left a message behind. In his message, Adam explains that one day the world would be worthy of the Aegis' power, and wants the Aegis to return to humanity after they learn to live better lives. Who would have thought that message was hidden away in an accessory? Not me. Suddenly, the ground shakes. It turns out the blast set Genbu free of Tantal's control, and as a result, Genbu begins to dive into the clouds, putting everyone's lives at risk. Zeke explains that Tantal keeps Genbu under control using the Omega Fetter, but the blast from the ether accelerator created a counterflow in Genbu's ether conduits. The science checks out, okay? Pyra explains that the Omega Fetter is Ophion's control core, and she thinks if she can get to it in time, she can fix it, since Ophion is Pyra's artifice. On the way to the Omega Fetter, Morak suspects something else is happening between Tantal and Indal. She wonders if Indal has something over Tantal. I wonder what Amalthus wrote in that letter. You mad, bro? The party reaches an old battleground during the Aegis War, where Pyra mentions several artifices that were used by Malos to fight her. Pyra tells them that the artifices were divine weapons stored in Elysium far above them. Nia thought Elysium was supposed to be a paradise and not a weapon stash, but unfortunately Pyra can't remember and wants to find out why the architect created her and the artifices in the first place. They finally reach the Omega Fetter. Pyra switches to Mithra, who tells Rex to shut up as she attempts to fix it.
Well, can you fix it?
Shut up.
I'm sorry.
Finally, Rex receives the the core. Pandoria is able to communicate with Genbu again, who begins to resurface. Unfortunately, as soon as the party leaves, Akos, Petroka, and Mick are waiting for them outside. Like in all the movies they've seen, the good guys always do all the hard work while the bad guys sit idly by and take whatever they want in the end. Turns out there's another reveal. Those three are actually all flesh eaters and don't need blades to fight. It's okay because they lose anyways. However, Jin comes in the last minute and attacks Zeke before he can finish the other members of Torna off. Malos makes an appearance as well, but claims he's just a spectator. He's so cool. Jin then does a costume switch, so I'm guessing he's more powerful now. The party tries their best but are unable to defeat Jin in his true power. Anyways, Jin easily beats up Rex. The party tries to fight but are interrupted by artificial blades. Everyone gets beat up pretty much. In order to protect everyone, Pyra offers to go with Torna or else she would destroy herself. Jin agrees and Pyra leaves with Torna. Whoa, Bridget opened her eyes. That's when you know things are serious. Jin leaves Rex with this.
But you're just a fool. A pitiful, childish fool.
I agree, Rex is the worst. Anyways, that's how the chapter ends. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. My name is LEOG and I will see you in the next video.